You're listening to AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota. This is The Gaily Show. I am your host, JP D'Arbogossian. We are your answer to the question, what is a queer thing I can read, watch, or go to in the Twin Cities and Minnesota and beyond? And before we get started today, I want to mention the Outfront Gala. The Outfront Gala is this upcoming Thursday. Obviously, you know the Outfront is our political advocacy and community organizing organization here in the cities. If you want to get tickets to celebrate the achievements that we've been having here in Minnesota and to build the foundation for what's about to happen in the most important election maybe of our time here coming up in November, then you want to come to the gala and support us. For tickets and more info, go to outfront.org. Okay, so today my guests are David Saffert and Jillian Snow. And when I found out about their show, Liberace and Liza, I thought, my God, that is the gayest show I've ever heard of. But then as I thought about it, I said, wow, Liberace and Liza had huge non-queer audiences and following. And so I am so happy to bring with us today the stars of the show, David Saffert, who plays Liberace, and Jillian Snow, who plays the incomparable Liza Minnelli. So David and Jillian, welcome to The Gaily Show.
Hi, thanks for having us. Woo, keep it weird.
Yay,
all right.
Thank you, JP.
Keeping it weird in a good way. So, all right. So I guess my first question, you're going to be at Crooner's Lounge in the Twin Cities on August, I was about to say December, August the 29th. And then you're going to be at Duluth Pride on the 30th and the 31st. But my first question for you both is, what is it like? What is that process of recreating and bringing to life these iconic characters? And maybe, David, we can start with you. As I see a candelabra in your background.
Well, that's part of it. That's honestly like the smallest part of it. But I mean, Liberace was known for so many things on stage. I mean,
right?
Like you always have to have a candelabra. This is my candelabra. It can be at home here in Portland, but Jillian actually bought me a cute travel candelabra that I'll bring to the cities in Duluth. I mean, you just have to have so many things. There's so many elements to Liberace. You have to have these outrageous outfits. You have to wear at least 8 rings on your finger. You should be playing on a grand piano, preferably a rhinestone grand piano. But in 10 years, I have yet to do that. Yeah. You have to know how to play the piano. I think what Jillian and I do is, we're not just like wax museum impersonators in a way, where we just have like 1 or 2 little elements of these characters. Yeah. We try to embody everything. And so that means from head to toe, what we wear, our wigs, if we wear sideburns, Jillian's eyelashes, and then hopefully have some talent to go with it. Maybe that's the most important part, is really hopefully crossing your fingers that you have the talent to play the piano and, sing your face off like Jillian does. That in a nutshell is what I have to bring to the table.
And Jillian, how about for you?
I mean, I've always been obsessed with Judy Garland. It started with Judy Garland, and then it moved on to Liza because, like a lot of people don't know that, Judy Garland, her daughter was Liza Minnelli. And sometimes that's a surprise to people because she is so her own person and she created that. And I just think it's wonderful. And she's quirky and she's funny. And I was always a really shy, kind of quirky kid. And I just kind of gravitated towards her because she didn't care. It was like she marched to her own drummer. And she did everything with such authenticity and such passion and love. And every song she sang, she told a story. And I think that's kind of, it's almost like David and I are telling this story, but like it's like a fabricated story of this friendship that never happened. And I think what's fun about playing these characters is that it's part of it is us just being us and improvising with each other. And I think that the friendship kind of comes out so authentically because we're friends in real life and we goof around with each other all the time. So, I think just hopefully bringing some fun and some, curiosity to the table. um, yeah, I and that's that is one thing that I always really loved about when people ask Liza like what's your biggest talent, and she always said staying curious. And I thought
Oh, I
that
didn't
was
know
really
that.
that was really beautiful, and I think we're still staying curious and creating new things every show. So it's fun. It never gets boring.
I've been rewatching Arrested Development, and her character on there is absolutely a treasure. But okay, so
Yeah.
this show could go in so many different directions because you have so much material to work with, just in terms of like music and songs and eras for both of them. So how did you, like, when audiences show up, like what should they expect? Like, is it a greatest hits? Is it maybe the lesser known songs? Like what should folks expect when they come to the concert?
I think the shows start off as greatest hits, and once you give people those songs that they're familiar with, like Cabaret for Liza, New York, New York. She even does Over the Rainbow, her mother's song. Liberace doing Chopsticks, Gershwin, all that stuff. Once you've given the audience, a good 20 minutes, half hour of the standards, just to reacquaint them with who we're playing, then we can go off the rails a little bit more, and we can do, if we wanted to do Taylor Swift. We don't actually.
Oh,
well, we
wow.
do Britney. We've got Britney, Celine. A little Beyonce.
We bring all the divas in,
Lady Gaga. But really, we do want to give the audiences, we want them to remember who these people are. So we do give a lot of big hits.
Yeah, and I think that also, we really try to include, because it is silly to, watch Liberace and Liza do Britney Spears Toxic. Of course it is. But it's also like we try to make it as authentic as it can possibly be. And I think that that's what makes it funny, is that we don't find it funny. It's we're just doing some current music, So I think it's always like a surprise for people. And also, we try to honor them in a way that's not poking fun and not making fun. It's just two friends that are just having a gay old time, pun intended.
That's a good point. When we do more current music, because Liberace Liza tried to be more current in the 80s. She had that Pet Shop Boys album. Liberace, there's that, it was on TikTok, that him feeling groovy, that, I don't know if you've seen this. The kids now know who Liberace is because of this feeling groovy.
Oh, wow.
And it's weird. But these were two people who were really trying to stay current and relevant. So when Jillian and I do, Toxic is a good example. When Liberace plays the piano, when I play the piano as Liberace, I'm giving it a Liberace feel. And Jillian as Liza is doing it how she thinks Liza would sing it. We're not making fun of them at all. We're actually seriously doing these current numbers, but it just turns out to be hilarious because really they shouldn't be,
Or they should be, or we start a trend. I mean, she did, it's like with Liberace, his whole thing was like, I play classical music and I take out all the boring stuff. So he was always reinventing things and like melding in all these like pop songs and popular music of the time. And with Liza, it's like, she did all the single ladies, Sex in the City. So it's like, I think that they're both just like game, and their personalities are like, they don't want to sit still. They want to keep, moving on with the times and reinventing themselves all the time. It's pretty cool.
That reminds me of the covers album that Johnny Cash did. And if Johnny Cash can do it, Liza and Liberace can absolutely do it.
Totally.
Do we know, did they perform in real life together ever? Did they like an award show or something like that? I could see that happening like at an Oscars or something.
They were at one, I feel like they maybe presented something, but it was like not a televised thing. It was I think it was for his scholarship or something, some kind of a benefit, but she was there. There's one picture of the two of them and it's like the only one you can find. And I think it's in that Liberace book that you have, and I can't remember. It's his,
it's in one of his
biography
autobiographies.
It's like, coffee table book.
It is, yeah. But no, they never performed together. But what's so fun about putting Liberace and Liza together is that their music is so perfect together. I mean, Liberace would have played Cabaret. He would have played Maybe This Time, New York, New York. Like those songs just work together. It's his time period. It's also into her time period. So that part of it just really makes sense.
Well,
so that was leading to my. Oh yeah, go.
I was going to say they're in different generations, so that is kind of funny to watch too, because it's almost like you're the old man and she's like the current one.
We always say Liberace has a rotary phone and Liza has a flip phone. That's as current as Liza gets.
Jitterbug.
Well, that was leading me to the question of how did you all both realize we want to play these characters and we want to put them together in a show and perform that?
Well, Jilly, you were doing this way before me.
I mean, it was kind of a happy accident. I was doing Liza Minnelli when I was living in New York, and I was performing at all these different lounges and like comedy clubs. And when I moved to Portland, I was like, well, I don't know if they're gonna do I still do the Liza thing? I don't know. And my sister was friends with this Yahoo and had always talked about him and said, my friend David, you guys have to meet each other. You're both such kooks, and you would get along really well. And he did this. It was your birthday show that you would do every year, and it was this like variety show. And my sister, I went to the first one. I wasn't in it, but I was just like, oh my God, this guy is a genius. I mean, he's just so funny. And the second show, you had asked me to do Liza, right? And I think we had done something before that, but that was the first time you were doing Liberace.
Yes. My God, seeing Jillian for the first time perform as Liza, it was the greatest thing I'd ever seen in my life. It was it was, you were so, because not just, I call Jillian a tribute artist because it's not an impersonator, like a Saturday Night Live show, a sketch will have impersonators. They're taking big strokes of characters. And Jillian had really done her research with Liza and just how she looked and my God, how she sang and all of the quirks and the body movements. And I wanted that in my variety show. And at the same time, I was thinking, well, am I going to play as myself? Am I going to look like this playing for Liza? And I had a friend of mine suggested I perform as Liberace, which was absurd. But I ended up thinking a lot about it, and I watched, you can watch these people on YouTube. They got everything on YouTube. So I started watching Liberace on YouTube, and I was just like, God, this guy's incredible. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. We'll do it for like 2 weekends and call it a day, And now it's...
Well, thank God you did it more than 2 weekends because, all right, let's get into the how and the why. So you're going to be at Crooners on August 29th. How do folks get tickets for that?
They can go to croonersmn.com. MN for Minnesota.
Perfect. And then you're going to be at Duluth Pride, which is a complete reason why everyone should take the drive and enjoy, which is an amazing weekend anyway. How do folks get tickets for the Duluth Pride performance?
This is old school. There's a phone number you can call.
Oh wow.
It's not a website. It's 218-213-2780. It's like the Jerry Lewis telethon in here. Please.
I was going to say.
Please give if you can.
Well, that is the time that we have for today. David and Jillian, thank you so much for being on The Gaily Show. And thank you, everyone. We will see you back here next Saturday. Until then, see you queers and allies in the bookstores.